So welcome back everyone to the Wild Mile podcast. Today I'm joined by the amazing Hannah. And Hannah is the founder of Mind Map Mentality. She combines psychology, manifestation, and holistic approaches to support clients becoming their best selves and living with purpose. So today we're going to dive into motherhood, business, manifestation, all different topics. And thank you so much, Hannah, for being here.
Right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to start by asking, where did this idea for mind map mentality come from?
So it's quite a long story really, but I really struggled with my mental health when I was a teenager. I went through quite a lot of childhood trauma and as a result ended up being diagnosed with a lot of different things throughout my teenage years. So anxiety, depression, disordered eating, body dysmorphia. I then, a little bit older, got diagnosed with PTSD, and then just last year got diagnosed with ADHD, which I think makes so much more sense as to why all those diagnoses happened. And I'd go to the doctors and they'd say, try this medication or try this therapy where you have to go and sit in a group of people when I've got anxiety. And I just didn't really feel like anything helped. And when therapy did start to help, they'd be like, that's the end of your 6 sessions. So you're back on a wait list, for 2 years. So eventually I was going to the doctors and they'd say, just go for a walk, just have a bath. And I felt so invalidated. And I thought, how can you tell somebody who feels so down to just go for a walk? And I had no understanding of why a walk might help because there was never that deep support. And it was, I'd say just before lockdown, I realised that there was so many different life areas that were interacting with how I felt. And as a result, if my mindset was in a low place, those areas would also be in a bad place and vice versa. So we have all these different areas of our lives interacting with our mindset and vice versa. So the idea of mind map mentality came about because I thought my mentality is like a mind map with all these different areas on the outsides. And it started as a blog and just like a place to share what I was learning at uni. I was studying psychology at the time. And then it gradually became what I wanted to do for work and moved into coaching.
Because I love that you're bringing in the psychology and the spirituality and a little bit of manifestation as well. It's quite niche. Like I actually did psychology at university and got like a degree. But I find that, did you find this, that it doesn't set you up to go and help people straight away? Like, I don't know if you feel like this, like, even though it's an incredible degree, there's so, like, you need the other holistic sides as well. I feel like there's not one thing that fits all.
I felt really let down when I was going to uni to study psychology, not only because of like the practical side of like the fact that after 3 years of studying, you're not qualified to do anything.
Yeah, you have to go on to do like PhDs. And did you go on to do anything else?
So I always wanted to do my clinical doctorate, which I think is so funny now because
you've learned so much more though, probably.
I would never go into that because for me now, I know that there are clinical psychologists that do amazing things, but I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And I think now I know there's so much more than just medication and so many more holistic and natural ways and approaches that we can try before that approach is used. So I was applying for my clinical doctorate and it's so funny because I remember being in my 3rd year, I did my entire doctorate application and the computer in the library just crashed and I lost my entire application.
Oh my God, I love when stuff like that happens because it's, even though it's tragic at the time, you're like, oh my God, what's just happened? But it's a life kind of just giving you a little push in the right direction.
So then I rushed my application because it was near the deadline.
You just redid it? Okay. Interesting.
And I think like obviously that wasn't aligned and I wasn't meant to do that anyway.
Okay, so tell me about that experience then coming out of uni. Had you already learnt some of these other tools by then? Had you started to get, like you said, nature, getting outside, learning about mindset, all of these things? Like was there like a light bulb moment for you where things started to fit into place? Like, I could really help people.
Yeah, I think it was so I'd had a bit of life coaching. I'd had so many different forms of therapy. I'd had CBT, I'd had counselling, I'd had so many different types of like different talking therapies. And like they'll help. And I think for me, I'm quite an open book. So it wasn't anything new. I wasn't going to tell somebody for the first time how I felt because I was quite open about it. And I'd had this life coach and we'd done EFT tapping.
EFT, interesting.
And I thought like, oh, this is interesting because this has never been mentioned to me.
And what did you feel about it at first? Because people can be quite skeptical.
I thought it was so silly.
Yeah.
I felt like such an idiot. Yeah.
On the face and like body.
Yeah, and I felt so silly. And I was one of those people that would think everything I do now, I was like, what a load of rubbish. Like, what a load of woo-woo nonsense. So I was in my 3rd year of uni and it was lockdown, and I started to like actually realize that, well, life has slowed down and I feel a lot better, and we're getting out in nature more. And I started to go down like all the spiritual rabbit hole as well at the same time. And like a lot of people, read The Secret, started to get into manifestation. And then I thought like maybe the only way to help people isn't to just go down the clinical route, because it clearly hasn't worked for me.
Well, look how many people are still so sick, like, and the depression's worse than ever, anxiety's worse than ever. It's going into children now more than ever, and it's kind of like there's a different approach that's needed, definitely in the world.
It just made me angry. I was thinking like all these people that are struggling, and I've been struggling for so long. I had my first panic attack at 11, and I thought all these children and all these people that are struggling, and nobody's addressing their diet, nobody's addressing their exercise, nobody is addressing their belief systems and their family life. Doctors have never asked me about my relationships, friendships, school, and all these different areas were just being ignored. So I just felt really let down by the system. And then I was like, do you know what? I don't think that's for me anymore. I did go on to do a master's in child and adolescent mental health, which again, I went into it with the right intentions, and I kind of hoped that it would be what I wanted it to be. It wasn't really. I think
you have to dive into the research yourself a lot more after as well.
And also in that time, in my third year when I was doing my dissertation, I started to look at deeper into all of the studies and all the research around antidepressants and things like that, and who funded them, and that whole kind of world of like, is this all as we're just seeing it? You know, they say antidepressants work, and for some people they will.
Well, but also the likelihood of it, you have to go through a few. Like a lot of people don't talk about this. Like you think you'll get put on antidepressants and they'll help you straight away. Well, often the case, they give you other side effects, numbness, and then they have to swap you over to other ones. And I've met so many people that come to our events that are like, I'm still so anxious and I'm on them, but I feel like that it can't be the only solution. They've got to look like, it's interesting in other countries, like Finland, isn't it? And all of those areas, that they prescribe the doctors to go out in nature or go and seek help in your communities, go to events. It's like interesting that why are we quite behind in the UK and maybe places like America in the Western world? It's tricky, isn't it?
I think there were definitely doctors occasionally that would tell me, you know, go for a walk, get out. But because when you're in that place, it feels so invalidating to have somebody tell you that you're literally depressed, you're suicidal, and they're saying, why don't you go for a walk? And nobody explains the science behind it. Nobody says when you get out in nature, your inflammation goes down, your cortisol goes down. Nobody tells you that. So it's so easy to just say, well, that is really ignorant to how I'm actually feeling.
It's so interesting. I find it fascinating because with someone with 4 children as well, it's like I think that our children are faced with more issues than even we were faced at. And I mean, I know you're a bit younger than me, but it's like now with the rise in social media and like YouTube and the tech world, I'm already seeing it in one of my boys really struggles with anxiety. And it's like, how can we, what were the best tools that you feel like from a younger age or as maybe going into your 20s that we should be implementing then?
I think social media is a massive thing because we're so exposed to so many triggers for our nervous system. And if we think, I think I was just on the cusp. So
yeah, because how old are you, if
I'm
you don't
27.
mind me sharing? Okay.
So I didn't have, my mum was really strict on it. I didn't have Facebook or anything until I was 16. And from that point, I think Instagram was becoming a thing, but it wasn't really used for it wasn't used as social media. So it only became a thing when I was an adult. And I feel so grateful for that because I actually remember my teenage years. I don't have any pictures to look back on or like anything, but we have memories. Whereas now, I think from such a young age, there's like so much pressure they go out and do something fun and they can't be present in the moment because they need to document it.
Everything needs to be filmed.
And it's that whole like, well, if I haven't filmed it or taken a picture, it didn't happen.
Doesn't exist.
And I need to share it so I get external validation. And from such a young age, external validation is fueling their self-worth. And
it's such a shame. I mean, I'm really strict with it. So my eldest is 10 now and she's going into high school next year. And I'm like, whoa, this is big. But all of her friends have phones. And I'm like, no, you're not having a phone. Like, even though I know some people might feel that's quite extreme, I'll let her go on iPads and things, but I don't want to go near social media, at least until she's at an age where she can comprehend that this isn't actually truth.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, when kids see these things, they think of it as truth. Like even my little 6-year-old, he'll see a video and like, do you know this about the world? And I'm like, oh, that's not true, and they believe it all. So,
and it's terrifying, like with all the things with AI, like I get caught out by these videos
Me
on a daily
too.
basis. I'll send it to my partner and he's like, you do know that's AI. It'll be like, there was a video of a dog saving a baby from like something else.
Yes.
I was like, wow, isn't that amazing? He was like, are you stupid?
I saw one about a fox that got caught in a trap or something, and it was like this awful. And then another animal came to save it, and I was so
Yeah.
like, you know, when you're late nights scrolling, which we shouldn't be doing, but you know, when we got young children, sometimes you just need that moment. And I was like, oh my God, this is so AI. After I was believing it though.
I was reading the comments, they were like, we're getting scammed soon. I thought, oh my gosh, like I would fall for it. But kids don't know that, and they're developing their sense of self and their sense of the world, and all of their core beliefs are forming that if it's infiltrated with all this external information all the time, it's potentially going to impact them for the rest of their lives. So I think reducing and restricting social media kind of helped me. I think I would have been so much worse.
And did you feel that for adults as well? Like we need to really like restrict ourselves.
Massively. My focus in both my dissertations and kind of where I focus with my clients a lot of the time, people that work in the media and influencers and people like that, they have so much impact from like the outside world and hate comments and trolls.
I saw this on your Instagram. So you coach like influencers and celebrities to help them like deal with that, is it?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that it has to be people that are hugely in the public eye, but it's...
Yeah, like even micro influencers. Like
Yeah.
I would say that I feel the pressure. Like I've had trolls before, and it's overwhelming. You don't really know what to do with it. When you're faced with it for the first time, criticism comes up. Not that I get many, but it is tough.
Yeah, and even, yeah, like you say, when there's small creators and that's their job and they're putting something out into the world and it's being kind of, what's the word? Like picked apart by strangers that have no...
And they don't know the full picture. Like people just think they know your life, but it's like, yeah, they follow a hook and they're like, oh my gosh, this is awful, you know. Or I know I had like that Vicky Owens on recently, and she was saying that people like copy her videos and then put false like news on or troll her, like, and actually, you know, put her face on it. And like, I think that's awful.
Yeah,
like
and
this
I think,
stuff happening, it's really tough.
Yeah, and when you see people that, like when I have clients that I know what's going on in their life, but then I see what they share online and I read the comments, it really annoys me.
Because you don't know what people... This is my big thing that I always say at my events, is that we never know what people are going through. Like every single person, like even the people that are at these super influencers, like say like that Molly May, who I want to touch on actually because you've been working with her. I just started watching her Prime series, the second season, and she said, I think she put out like one comment about something about summer, was it?
Yes.
How she, you know, doesn't get any time for herself or something like that. It was a bit controversial, but she didn't mean it in that kind of context. But people just trolled in because they were like, oh, she's got this perfect life and da-da. But then they don't realise, like, this is a young girl that's growing an empire, a big business. She's got so many demands, a young child. And can't we just see that people, even people in the public eye, are struggling too? Like, just as people that we pass in the street are struggling too. Like, everyone has a story.
And people will always jump on it. And I think with Molly in the documentary, that they said afterwards, like she tried to explain that in her mind, her job is work, and to a lot, her job is work.
Yeah.
In her mind, what she does for work doesn't often transpire to people that aren't in that industry. So they think, well, of course she's having fun. She's filming this, she's doing that, but it's work.
You don't realise it's so tough. Like the actual content, like I'm a bit of a content creator as well, and it looks so fun. I'm at these events, cool venues, but the work that goes into that behind the scenes, I mean, I can't even imagine on her level. But
and again, the impact of having constant eyes on you and like external information for any content creator, all that information coming and trolls comments and hate comments and messages and all of that pressure constantly is going to have negative impact.
Yeah, can I ask you on this? So you did an incredible, was it a wellbeing day for her team last week?
Yeah, so it was a mindset workshop.
Can you tell us a bit about this, like, and what kind of things you shared with them?
Of course.
And can I just touch as well that Hannah is here today with her little baby. Yeah, if you can't see us, you know, and you're listening, oh my gosh, she's got a little 8-week-old baby just resting on her. How relaxed and zen do you look as a mum right now? It's so beautiful.
It's not always like this.
It's so inspiring. Just wanted to say, so for those listening, you know that there's just a little Frankie's here.
Yeah, he's really nestled in to my elbow. I'm hoping
sweet. So yeah, tell us about this.
So Molly was doing a staff appreciation week, which I think every workplace should be doing, and they had something different every day for their teams. They had like manicures, they had massages, all different things. So I went in to do a mindset workshop, and I went in, it was about 90 minutes long, and I really like doing kind of wellbeing days and workshops for workplaces, because I think so many places don't realize the impact of their employees' mindset and how they need to be aligned with the vision at the business to be the most successful they can be. So I'd spoken to Molly before about the kind of the brand's vision, what she wanted the workplace to feel like, how she wanted the staff to feel, and then also got really detailed into their ideal customer it may be, which I never knew before I read this kind of presentation. And it was all about how they want to speak to like the women who are going through different phases of life, and they're refining themselves into the best version of themselves, and they're elevating everything they do. And it was this gorgeous kind of pack with so much information about the business, and a lot of it aligned with what the work that I do anyway. So I went in with a kind of bespoke presentation for them. We did mindset work. So I spoke about my kind of story up to this point and how Mind About Mentality came about. We also touched on core beliefs, how they're formed, how they impact us, and how we can rewrite them, because that's the most important thing throughout any mindset work.
So just anything. So if you have like, touching on that, so if you have like imposter syndrome, or you're thinking I'm not good enough, or I'm a bad parent, or whatever, they're the kind of beliefs that, and it could be small ones that have just been deep down stuck in your brain for so long.
And no matter what it is that is showing up as the presenting issue, whether it's issues in your relationship, issues at work, imposter syndrome, which was an example that I used, it all comes from that seed that was planted probably in your childhood.
It's always childhood, isn't it?
Yeah,
and like
that time.
It could be someone just on the playground saying you're fat or something, like something that they might not have meant at the time, or like something like, oh, you're too slow or whatever, and it really can affect you.
Yeah, and it's that one tiny seed that's been planted, and from that moment your entire life trajectory can change. And I think people don't realize the impact when they're speaking to children. And I made a video last year on TikTok about how, do you remember that trend? And it was like the just give me my money, and they do just give me my money, and then they'd make one of them look silly. So they'd stop, and they'd make the child do it, and they'd clap for everybody else, and then the child would do it, and they'd stop.
I remember I honestly felt awkward watching some of them. Like, it's a lot of influencers did it, and they were doing it with like their 5-year-old child, and they were generally like, why is no one joining in? And I did not like it.
And
but it was funny because my kids loved it. They were like, look at this. But it's just ridiculing. And that's what, do you not find social media is going like that? Like, let's ridicule the hell out of people.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of people in my comments were like, oh, you're such a snowflake, and like, you're so boring. And like, oh, it's just a fun trend. But it isn't just a fun trend.
Them for life.
That one thing could have planted a seed of like, oh, I'm different from the rest of you. You're all taking the mick out of me. I'm silly.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And from that point, their brain puts blinkers on to look for more evidence to prove that that's the case. And then the more that core belief is formed, the more it's going to impact your behaviours. And the more it impacts your behaviours, the more it impacts your life. Yeah. So you could be going around as a 30-year-old adult impacted by something that happened when you were 6, and you have no idea unless you do this work.
Yeah, unless you start going deep, and sadly the NHS and all the tools aren't in place at the moment to help you go back and unlock that. You need to really go deeper.
Absolutely. So
interesting. So then what else did you, so you did the core beliefs, and you touched on, did I see on your Instagram, like manifestation?
Yeah. So when you've got the beliefs that you want to have, so they're things like, I am good enough, I am worthy, I can achieve X goals, then that's when manifestation comes in. And I think for me, a lot of people, again, I was once one of them, would hear the word manifestation and think, what a load of rubbish.
Well, let's touch on that then. So like, I guess you explained it all at this Molly May seminar as well. So how would you define manifestation?
So I always talk about the 2 laws of attraction and law of assumption. So the law of attraction being that like attracts like. So everything in the universe vibrates, and there is a part of it that I do believe is energy.
Yeah, like a frequency. We were all at a frequency, aren't we?
Absolutely. And the things that are on the same wavelength with the same frequency will attract into each other's existence. That nature abhors a vacuum. So when you create space, your goals can happen because you've created space, and that space will be filled. And that there's always a positive in any present moment. So I
like that.
Again, think this is one that you have to be careful with. And a lot of people on social media don't. And this is why people see manifestation and they think, load of rubbish. If somebody told you, you've just been through a really traumatic life event, you've lost somebody, you've been through something horrendous, and somebody comes and says, well, there's always a positive in any present moment, you can feel
Yeah, you're like,
so
no.
invalidated.
And it's just, or you can just manifest it. Or
Yeah.
like that money mindset thing, that's big at the moment. Like, oh, we can just say I'm a money magnet. And it's like, actually, if you already believe that you're not worthy of attracting any wealth or money, you need to start. I think I heard someone say, reframe it in a question like, I am open, or like, I'm going to be open to attracting more money. Or you can change the way you word it, not just be very too bold and ambitious, because you have to meet yourself where you are, don't you?
Absolutely.
But it does, like, I was brought up around this. It was funny because my mom, even though The Secret really hadn't been written, my mum was just really into this. We traveled to the East a lot when I was young, so she had factories all over the world. And in British manufacturing, really funny, because she was really spiritual as well. First female leader to ever go into this.
Wow.
And the reason I'm touching on it is because she would always say, what we think about, we bring about. And what your language you use in your own mind will be what comes. And I was always like, oh. And then The Secret came out. I was like, this is all the stuff my mum used to tell me. And it's so interesting because it's not woo-woo. It's like actually scientifically backed, isn't it?
So this is kind of where I try and have that balance. So with that law of attraction and the positive present, I always say, even if the moment doesn't feel positive at all, and there are some terrible things that happen, we can find some positive from it. It might be 10 years down the line that that one traumatic situation led you to being in a coffee shop and you met somebody that you end up being friends with for life. It doesn't have to be the same level of, positive outweighs negative.
Exactly. You can always just be open to it. I think if we just turn off our phones and look up more and be open to what positive thing could I attract into my data today? Like even after grief, even after trauma, there's still, you might just come across someone that's going to change your life or be a future business partner or a friend. And it's amazing. Like I really believe in the serendipity of things.
Yeah.
If you're open to it.
And I think that with the law of attraction side of it, that's the more spiritual woo-woo side, and you can fully get into that.
Okay.
But without going into the mindset work and addressing your beliefs, you can't understand that our core beliefs impact what we see every single day, which is what manifestation is. When we believe that something good is going to happen, we will look for opportunities for something good to happen. Whereas when we're in that place where, I always use the example of when people wake up and they say, I'm just going to have one of those days. It's just one of those days.
It's raining and
we all know what that means. If we say, I'm just having one of those days, we're saying...
I said this the other day, which I don't usually say, but I was like, everything just started, I think I dropped the kids' cereal in the morning. I was just like all over the place. And I was like, oh, it's just one of them days. And then it had that domino effect. Everything started bad happening. And I was like, right, I need to switch off. And you can reset your mindset though, in a moment. Like you could just get out in nature, take a few breaths, and be like, I choose now to be in a positive mindset. And I know that won't work for everyone, because if you're in a space of grief or whatever, but for me, it can work. I feel like, because I've done a lot of this work, and I'm like, I choose to be open and receptive to abundance or whatever it is. And you can really shift your mind, can't you?
Yeah, the way that I say to people that might be going through grief or they might be struggling is that you don't have to pretend to be positive. You don't have to wake up and be like, today I'm going to be positive and I'm going to feel really good. Because when we do that and we see this level of toxic positivity on social media where it says, just be happy, it can feel like you're failing if you try that. Because if you aren't addressing what's actually going on underneath and you're not addressing how you truly feel, you're repressing emotions. And we both know when you repress emotions, they come up more often. Yeah. So what I say, like you say, it's simple changes in your language. When people use affirmations for manifestation, if you were saying, I'm rich, and you don't feel rich.
Exactly. You're in a financial deficit.
Yeah, your brain's going to say, no, you're not. Here's all the evidence. It's going to remind you of all the reasons you're not.
And you'll be more negative spiraling because you're like, look at my bank account, I can't see anything.
You're focusing on the things that you don't want. So instead, the most simple language change and language shift that I would suggest is when you use affirmation, say, I am choosing to.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
I am choosing to feel more worthy, or
feel more worthy. Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want to attract, I'm choosing to look for the good in today. So if you've had one of those mornings, and I'm really conscious of that phrase as well, but I remember once when I used it and I dropped my purse in Waitrose and everything fell out on the floor, and I was like, I'm just having one of those days. Got back to the car, I had a parking ticket. I thought,
oh my God, I had similar thing happen.
It's so funny because obviously those things would have happened anyway. But this is the thing with manifestation. The things are all around you. So it's what you choose to tune into. If we said, I always talk about cars, and if I said, how many red cars did you see on the way here? You wouldn't be able to tell me.
Gosh, yeah.
But if you counted them on the way home, you'd notice all of them. You'd be like, there's loads of red cars.
Yeah.
So if we're tuning into what we want to see and we're choosing to focus on the good, then that is what our brain is going to show us.
It's interesting because, if someone said like, oh, I've just bought a Mercedes or something, you're like telling you about it, and then you'll just see loads of Mercedes on the way home. You're like, what's happened here? It's so interesting.
And it's not magic. And I think like a lot of people think manifestation is this magic
It's just
thing.
planting those seeds into your mind. It's funny because I have a friend who comes to a lot of my networking events, and she says she's like never got a parking ticket. She's like literally will go towards the traffic lights and even use manifestation tools. Like she visualizes the green light or the parking space before she comes into the driveway or in the multi-story. And she just is in flow. And she's someone that she did a talk last week at our event, and she said she has a big whiteboard, and she calls it the magic whiteboard because everything she seems to write on it with clear goals and clear structure seems to manifest, not straight away, but in time. And she'll write down, she always has financial goals, which I love this idea that in business, we should have our financial goals. Like I'm going to hit £5,000 a month and go up. She said £20,000 a month. And then it went up to £100,000 a month. And then one day in lockdown, she hit £2 million months. I mean, such an inspiration. My friend Sarah Lou Jones, incredible. But she said it was, it was a journey. It took a few years, but she was so clear on her goals. And then she'd look at the problems she needed to resolve and write it all out as in a clear strategy. Obviously, because we often think of manifesting like, oh, it makes positive happen.
Yeah.
We still have to follow it with action. Like that's what's important. And you talked about the law of assumption as well. Was that as well? Or?
So similar to what we said about the beliefs, the law of assumption is living in the end. So living as if it's already happened.
Yes,
So you're just assuming that everything good is going to happen to me. And if you're going about your day assuming that everything good is going to happen, it is going to happen.
Okay.
And I bet your friend does this too. So when she approaches a traffic light and she's in that flow state and she's visualizing the green light, even if there isn't a green light there, I bet she's not like, oh, there's a red light and I'm going to be late and it's going to ruin my day. I call it the traffic light theory, and I say this is where I want my clients to get to with everything. If you are approaching a traffic light and the light is green, you're so grateful because everything's going my way and the traffic light's green and I'm on my way. But then the traffic light becomes red, and instead of thinking all those things, I'm going to be late, it's ruined my day, you're thinking I'm so grateful because I'm being protected and everything is always happening in the right way. Rather than thinking we know when something's stopping us.
It's so interesting this because I've had something happen this week. So I hired this like VA, and she's just like accidentally kind of said she's got too much work on, she can't work for me anymore. And I was like, oh, I went into that headspace of, oh my God, I'm so busy, I need this, and spiraling. And then I was like, oh, wait there, just take a step back and go, this is happening for a reason, the stress, or there's other things as well that happen within the business. But I was like, we had to move an event, function, a location, but I had the most incredible meeting yesterday. I found an even better venue. Someone else applied for helping me with socials and admin. And I was like, maybe I just need to let go and trust that the universe is aligning with me, even in the hardest times. And I think if you have that mindset, your life can really change and be so open. And it's interesting, that friend I talked about, Sarah Lou Jones, she even did it. She said she went to an Anthony Robbins seminar, in America.
Yeah.
And he said, you even need to feel it. Like, so she, even though she didn't have the money at the time, she rented out a luxury house for her and her son because she set this business up as a single mom with her newborn baby and grew it to 2 million customers worldwide. And she basically said, I need to be in the space I feel the best. So she hired out this luxury home in Cheshire, would do her visions every day. And little by little, she just started to manifest it because she was like, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to create a life for my son where I have financial abundance. And it can happen to everyone listening. This can happen to you too. And you just got to really believe.
Yeah. And it can sound woo-woo and it can sound a bit out there to think, well, what do you mean she just hired a house and felt like she was worth it? But it has to come from within. And whether that is that you're in a position where you hire an amazing luxury space, or you put yourself in spaces where you feel a little bit out of your comfort zone, it's giving your brain that evidence to say, okay, the world didn't end when you went somewhere new. You belong in these spaces. And the more you do that, the more you move through that discomfort, the more you've got proof to show your brain, of course that's going to happen. Exactly. And if you think of her mindset, knowing I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to make this happen. If you wake up with that drive every day, of course your goals are going to happen because you are thinking, that's my goal, it's going to happen. Okay, let's look underneath. How am I going to make that work?
And we always have to even level up and go a bit higher. You can do anything you put your mind to for a longer period. I think it is important though to know in business, things take time. I think we have this idea when we see on Instagram and TikTok, oh, I want to be a female founder and I'll just land this like £1 million business. It takes up to 5 to 10 years to grow a really successful business. And she's been doing it, this lady I talked about, for 12 years. So it does take time, and like, but nurturing daily in mindset is so key.
Yeah, and even that in that time you'll learn so much. There'll be so many divine moments of people that you meet along the way and lessons that you have to learn.
And failure is part of it, right?
Absolutely.
So important. And I put here as well about, I want to ask you, so I know many that come to my event struggle with burnout, anxiety that we've touched on. I know you had it when you were younger. I had it when I was in my teens as well for a long time. And it still comes and goes in periods of stress. What would you say are the top tools to help with these issues? You know, for someone that's listening, that's facing that today, how can we shift that anxiety and burnout and overwhelm?
I would say that the first thing is understanding why. So why are you burnt out? What things are contributing? So with every single client that I work with, I do a holistic life audit. So we look at their mind map. Okay. So in the middle, it's their mentality, how they feel on a daily basis, what's going on internally, and then externally we go through every single life area. So I say to people, this is so easy to do on your own. You can draw your mind map. In the middle, write about how you feel, and then write about all your different life areas. So your diet, your exercise, where you feel fulfilled, your career.
Oh my gosh, I need this now. I feel like I want to book in for one of these.
Yeah, go through like this whole audit process of looking, and then rate each area from 1 to 10. So where you feel the most fulfilled is a 10, where you might feel really negative, it can be a 1 or a 2. Those are the areas that you need to work on, but don't isolate them. Okay. So everything works in alignment with each other. And I think when we focus on, okay, well, my career's at a 1, so I'll put all my energy into that. Every other score will go down if you put all your focus onto one area. Yeah, this is what I
find in life. Like, I find I can either be really doing good at like motherhood, you know, like I'm a more conscious parent and I'm balanced, and then the business will be taking a hit. Mm-hmm. Or I'm like thriving in business. Like I'd say at the moment, I'm like, there's so many opportunities coming my way. I'm feeling great. I mean, slightly on the edge of like burnout a little bit because I'm doing too much. Mm-hmm. But then I find that I'm not with my kids as much, and I feel a bit of that mum guilt. And how do you like, it's tricky, isn't it? Like, do you get that as well, the mum guilt? I think it's common for all of us mums.
Definitely. And I think it is about that balance in the way that I recommend to anybody for any of those problems, but also things like mum guilt and burnout, working on the mindset first. So acknowledge all those areas, but there will be one belief or one mindset
it's like lower
that is impacting every area. So we can think that our career is taking a hit or motherhood feels really hard, but there'll be a belief underneath that that's impacting both of them and all of them at the same time. So if we work on that, every area will impact positively.
Great.
So
yeah, because it does have a balance. I do feel like I know this deep within, that when I'm doing good in business, it's obviously going to impact my children because they're seeing me lead. And often I sometimes take my kids to some of my events, and they're like having my daughter at my big summit event for like 450 people. I was like, this is such a moment. Mm-hmm. But it's teaching them that we can do anything, you know, you can achieve anything as well.
Exactly.
But then you do feel that you're pulled in all directions sometimes.
Definitely.
And I wondered, because we had a doctor on the podcast as well, this Dr. Giselle Goodwin, and she said, she's wrote a book about, can women truly have it all? I'm like, do you think we can? Like, it's tricky, isn't it? Can we get that balance?
I do think there'll be, I mean, I'm definitely not there.
I mean, you have a newborn baby as well. It's like 8-week-old. I mean, just that you made it here today is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, I think it's like the process of being okay with not everything looking the way that it once did.
Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And that's what I think her point was as well, was it doesn't always have to be that balance.
Yeah.
You know, you'll go through life cycles and we'll go up and down, and, you know, and like motherhood is such a big transition. Your heart is, you know, you're wearing your heart outside your body, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're so focused on your little one. Even as they get older, until they're at least like 7, I think, until they get more freedom to do things.
And I think the way that I react to any life area, but motherhood is especially, it all comes back to that mindset work. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, like, when the mum guilt is strong, like you say, because you're focusing on your business or you're focusing on yourself, or my experience of motherhood this time around has been so different, but we can talk about that.
Yeah. Are you feeling, do you not find though with your second, you feel a bit more zen and relaxed? Like,
so much more chilled.
Because you worry more with your first. You're like, oh, am I doing everything right? Yeah. And I was very more chill with my second. Like, I just used to take him to my wellness cafe in a sling and just hop on and do things, teach yoga with him.
Yeah, they just kind of come along for well, this is a perfect
like,
example, isn't it?
Look how chilled he is. I can't believe this.
Yeah,
and relax.
All that comes from kind of like the work within. And I think the first time I really didn't think that I deserved any time. I was really down the rabbit hole as well of like non-toxic living. And obviously I was talking about this the other day, saying obviously the goal is to not have toxins around us, but it's so unrealistic to think you can live a non-toxic, complete toxic-free life in the world that we live.
It takes over your mind a bit, like in a way you kind of
spiral.
You kind of that toxic kind of, it's like that toxic positivity, but you're like, I did it with I was vegan for 15 years and I was so like, everything has to be sustainable, eco cups, no plastic in the house. And then I think it was actually after losing my mum. So I lost my mum 3.5 years ago. And my grandma, and I had a miscarriage all in 2 years. It was like the most heavy thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I just suddenly went, there's more to life than trying to be perfect. Like we can't be perfect. Like we just got to live life to the full. Not saying that you should just go and, spend away and do everything and like, use plastic. But it's kind of like we should be responsible and sustainable, but we can't be perfect.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just, it's not realistic. I think when I had Matilda, when she was a newborn, I was anxious. Like I look back and I think I was anxious about everything. Stopped getting my nails done. I was bleached blonde before I had Matilda. Stopped getting my hair done. Stopped getting my lashes done because I was so worried that there was going to be toxins that get into my breast milk. So I let myself completely like sacrifice every element of myself, which I thought was going to be good for her. But actually looking back, she probably had a mum that felt rubbish every day. I was like pale. I looked really washed out. I was getting no sleep. And it probably would have made me feel really good to go and have my nails done or have my hair done.
Yeah.
And that's more important.
And relax and all that.
That is more important than maybe the tiny amount of toxins that might have gone into my breast milk if I'd got my nails done.
It's so funny,
like
isn't it?
Maternal mental health is so important. And I think that this time around, I know I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel good from doing what I love, which is work.
I love it. You're getting out there. I mean, how did you do this last week? Like seriously, like with going to Molly May's head office and like, with an 8-week-old, that's incredible.
I know. I did leave him with Matt for the first time.
That's
for
incredible.
A full day.
No, but you shouldn't feel any guilt because it's great. Like I think that it's amazing, and I think we should. I think it obviously have a balance. I think it's also I'm all about because I was a doula at one point as well. Postpartum time is really precious, and you should rest. But if you feel like just going out and doing a workshop, why the hell not? Like there's no one that's written this rule that mums can't do that, and. I think I was the same as you. I was back in the cafe a few weeks after, juggling life and motherhood, and it's like, why not?
I did that the first time as well. I had clients from 3 weeks postpartum, and I just used to do them like this, and Matilda would be breastfeeding, and I'm still able to give what I did. But then this time around, I was like, I'm going to have a full maternity leave. I'm going to relax. The house is going to be great. We're going to do some renovations on it. We're going to like do all this stuff. Yeah. And 3 weeks in, I was like, I want to go back to work. I was so itching to like do. That's the thing of having your own business, isn't it? Because you love what you do. And like, I missed my clients. I missed doing what I was doing. So yeah, I left him with Matt last week and went into Maybe for the full day. And that was the first time I'd left him for a full day.
It must be hard though as well. Did you feel like...
Do you know what?
Did you feel okay though?
I felt fine.
That's
and
good.
I think like I didn't have any worries about doing this event because I know that when I do it, like I'm in my flow state. That's when, I love doing it so much.
It looked amazing. I loved it all, what you shared on socials and things. It's so
good. It was really fun as well. Like it reminded me that that's what I do for enjoyment. And like you said,
easy waking up. Maybe. And did you learn anything there, like that you took away from it as well? Was there other speakers or just engaging with the team?
I think like Molly is just such a huge inspiration to me. And so I met Molly through Matilda and Bambi being friends.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, that's lovely.
I've known her now for about a year, but she's just such a huge inspiration. Like everything that she does business-wise, obviously, is incredible. But I think just the way that she balances herself, the way that she articulates herself in the job that she's in, and then now applies everything that she's learned in her journey to this team of people who are working in the most beautiful office I've ever seen.
Oh, she's done so well with that because that was on the documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was the pictures look like the mock-ups. That's exactly. It looks like photos of the office.
It's just perfect. It's like so minimal, and that is hard to do as a mum. And like you just going into business, you're in the public eye. I mean, what I like about her as well is she's so blunt and honest. Like because I'd probably not really until the documentary, I'd not really known much about her. I think I'm kind of so busy in my own business, but watching that's been really eye-opening to see how she cares so much about a little one and balancing the business at the same time. It's amazing.
She really does. And I think it's the same with any area of motherhood. When you are sacrificing something now, whether it's for your mental health or like you said before, when we're focusing on business rather than our babies, we can get this mum guilt that, oh my God,
exactly.
I'm not with them 24/7. But you have to think about the life that you're building for them and also the work ethic that you want them to have. And I want my children to grow up knowing that they can do something that they love and that they can do whatever they want. And I know people have views about being self-employed and, you know, things not being maybe as reliable. And I just think that I want my children to grow up looking back and thinking like, wow, my mum did that.
Yeah, she's rocked it and she smashed it, and just it's trusting in that they could do that too.
Yeah, and sometimes that means that you have to sacrifice time with them. So yeah, I actually felt fine going into the office.
Yeah, that's ace.
And I think that, yeah, the biggest takeaway is just looking at how important she really values mindset and manifestation. She really wants the values of that business to be ingrained in all of her staff, and she wants them all to feel appreciated and all to get on. And I just think that is such a huge thing for hopefully one day when I have a team and have a bigger business and I've grown.
It's so important, the values as well, like,
Yeah.
and the core, and knowing their clientele. Like you just said, to like formulate this social avatar of who is our target audience. And I think people miss that step in business sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you've really got to understand the ins and out, where they're shopping, what they're doing on a daily. Are they mums? What age are they? You know, and really embody that when you're doing your social media or your brand content shoots or whatever it is. You're targeting that person, not in a bad way, like in a great way, that you're going to inspire them to be their best selves.
Yeah.
And it's great that she got that across.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's so nice that so much of that goes in behind the scenes, you know, that you know who you're talking to. And I think I've been through so many phases in my business where I'm like, okay, I'm targeting this type of person and then this type of person. And then when you change through it, you feel like you kind of failed in one chapter because maybe you didn't focus on that ideal client for long enough, or like I change my branding all the time, which is definitely an ADHD thing.
Oh yeah, let's touch on ADHD because it's interesting. So I had my diagnosis 6 months ago, I think it was now, and it kind of answered so much to me. I was like, oh my God, this is why my whole life I've been like driven to have my own business, do this, swap and change. Like even in motherhood, I mean, I closed down my wellness cafe and then launched straight back into events.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I kind of wondered, why am I this like workaholic in a way? And explained a lot of my childhood when I had OCD, dyslexia, all these things. And it kind of explained a lot. So did you find that as well?
Yeah, I think that I didn't realise throughout my childhood at all that I had ADHD.
And it's good that it's being spoken about now because it's actually 70% genetic. A lot of people don't know this.
Yeah, so my brother had it and he presented as a typical boy, hyperactive, always injuring himself, couldn't focus, wasn't able to succeed in school because he couldn't focus.
And did they recognise it or not still?
No, not at all.
It wasn't really talked about. Like even, I know you're a bit younger than me, but still back then, like it's only really in the last, few years it's starting to become.
It was really, I mean, my school didn't handle it well for my brother at all.
I'd just be suspended and stuff for being over hyperactive.
Yeah, he was told he was stupid. He was told that like he just couldn't focus.
Then they end up getting into bad, like I'm not saying he got into bad things, but like into distractions or hanging around with the people that are a bit more, you know, distracted or getting into no good, you know, because it's a form of, I need to fixate my mind on something else.
And it's excluding them, isn't it? It's saying like, well, you can't focus in this way, so get out of the classroom and off you go, you're different. And I just don't think it's good at all. But I didn't present like that. I was obviously a very anxious child. Like I said, I had my first panic attack at 11 and struggled with those throughout my teenage years. But I was always a very, like, I was overthinking everything as a child. I really analysed everything.
This is like I was. I'd have a normal conversation with someone like at school or whatever, and it'd go on my mind all night. Like, how did I come across in that conversation? Oh my God, what do you think they were meaning by that? And it was I would overanalyze everything, whereas, you know, I just don't think my friends did like that.
No, and that's how it presents in women. And I think a lot of people say, oh, well, I kind of resonate with a lot of the symptoms of ADHD, but I'm not hyperactive. Whereas they might be hyperactive internally because that's how women present.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rejection sensitivity thing is such a real thing for me as well. I would think everyone hated me.
Same.
I would think like, oh, everyone thinks I'm a freak. No one likes me. And even now, I'll have a conversation like you said, and then afterwards I'll think like, oh, did I say something wrong, or I should have said this, or I should have said that. And it's so draining, isn't it? Like,
It's
you're
draining.
constantly stuck in that.
It's interesting though, because I wouldn't think that now. Like, you seem to carry yourself so confidently. You're like very in your power. Like, but you seem to be like me afterwards. We kind of look very calm on the surface, but then underneath we're like over analyzing things.
Yeah, and I think it affects different areas of life for different people. For me, in my work, I seem to not feel as kind of not let down, but impacted by ADHD, whereas home life is chaos. And
This is what I feel like as well.
I
Yeah.
can't, like, I think this is maybe why this time postpartum as well, I feel maternity leave is just not for me.
Do you find that you like forget things or like misplace things? So
Oh, yeah.
it drives my partner crazy. I always lose the keys.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, we need a bleeper on these keys because it'll drive us like it could ruin a whole morning that I have lost my phone and he's like, it's always usually in the same place.
Yeah.
But it's just, I do say to him, I think it's an ADHD trait. Like
Yeah.
my mind's so overwhelmed, I'll just put things in random places. And he's just like, no, it's not an ADHD thing. It's
No,
just,
it is.
But it is.
Yeah, and having my diagnosis has really helped me to understand that. And when mine's the same, Matilda will always say, have you got your keys today? And I'm like,
We need to tie them on us, don't
and
we?
she's really impressed if I've got my keys and we're out the door in the first go. But I noticed it first time round when I was doing my master's. I was doing an assignment on ADHD in girls, and I was like, this is me.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctors and they put my referral in, and then it got kicked off the system because we moved house, and I thought, never mind. And then postpartum with Matilda, I think it's really impacted by your hormones. Postpartum, I'd forget nappies. I'm so glad that I breastfed both times because, like, I would never remember formula.
How people do that. Like,
No.
I needed to just breastfeed. Like, I'm actually still breastfeeding my youngest, but it's like, it's just easy when you're on holiday or traveling because I just forget all the bottles and all the stuff.
Yeah, I would never be able to. I would forget everything. So I went to the doctors and I was like, this can't be normal.
Affecting my life.
So then it took about 18 months for a diagnosis after that. And then this time around, I feel it again. I feel like my hormones are all over the place. And as much as I try, I cannot keep on top of the house. I really, really struggle to think of things like what to have for tea that week and to focus on the task long enough to think, okay, I want this for tea. Let me find a recipe, write a shopping list, order it. I have never once got to the end of that list.
This is it's just making sense to me now. Like, even now, after the 6 months after the diagnosis, like, I'll go on, like, say, Morrison's and I'll be doing a shop and then someone will knock at the door and I'm like, okay, I'm answering the door now. And then I'm like, I was just doing that email. And then I know the deadline for the shopping needs to be done by 1 or it won't come that night. And I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot the shopping. And it's like, that's then stress for the whole day because we've not had the shopping. It has to come in the morning now. And it happens all the time. Or my husband will be like, will you just put the oven on because I'm on my way home from football? Will you pop my food in or whatever? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. And he doesn't, sometimes they don't get it because it can be really frustrating, but they don't realize my mind jumps from one task to another and we just jump, don't we?
I say it's like having all the tabs open in your laptop and you click on one, you see something else, you think, oh, I'll do that. And you physically cannot focus on a task until you get to the outcome because there's a million distractions in between.
He's doing so good, so chilled.
He is being chilled. I think as well, people don't talk about the financial implications of it. It's like I've had 3 new phones since having Matilda. I've left 2 on the roof of my car. 1 got crushed between the boot and my car. And like
my husband's done this. I swear he has ADHD slightly because he leaves it on the top of the car while he's putting the kids in, and then he's just driven off before.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I do it all the time. I had somebody beeping at me the other day, and they were like, "Your coffees are on the roof," and I was like, "Oh my God, it's all the time."
Funny.
And the impact of like having to pay for, like you say, with the shopping, because I can't do a full food shop. I end up doing small shops at like Tesco Express every day. I spend like £35 on tea. I'm like, all I've bought is some pasta. Like, how is it that much?
You just rush in, you're like grabbing everything,
like
rushing.
Because you have to do it in the moment. And for me, I don't do things until there's a deadline. I could have all morning to get ready and I will be late getting out the door.
I'm so glad. It's so refreshing to have someone say that because like even prepping podcasts or when I'm about to get on stage, people are like, have you planned your presentation?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I'm writing it the night before, like, or literally the morning of.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I look back at my mum and her career and she was very much like that, like so last minute, and it'd frustrate people. But I'm like, my husband's always like, why can't you just be on time for things or early for things and then plan it before?
Yeah.
Like, no, I like deadlines.
Yeah, and it is that deadline.
I need the deadline
rush that gives you the okay, I need to do it now. I don't have a choice to get distracted.
Maybe it's the dopamine hit, is it? Like, because we kind of, is it we're always kind of catching more of that dopamine hit as having ADHD? We need more of that. I don't know. Someone's explained it to me before that like we need that
The dopamine
reward.
hit, is the reward for us. So I think that when we're panicking all morning, it gets to finally we're ready. It feels better because we're like, oh, we've done it.
Finally.
But I was the same with the event last week. I think I've just come to terms with the fact that I do things last minute and it doesn't mean I'm unprepared. Yeah. That's just the way that my brain works.
I think I sometimes do better. So I did a yoga class once to like 100 people at a festival. And I know it sounds bad to say on here, but I hadn't prepared my class. But I've been a teacher for 12 years now. I mean, I know yoga off by heart. And it was the best class I've ever done because I was just in my heart. I wasn't trying to go off a script. It's like today I've got notes in front of me, but I'm like, actually, it's flowing.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be scripted. And actually, I guess you find that in your work, you know it, the ins and outs of it so much. You're a manifest coach, you're a mindset coach, you get this. So you can just speak from the heart. Yeah.
And even that, like, I think society says, oh, well, if you're last minute or you've not prepared your class, are you saying that? Oh, it sounds bad me saying it. But actually, like, what's bad about it? Because you've done a class that you really enjoyed and it flowed. I did the same. I stayed up really late before the event last week, writing notes. And
it's refreshing to hear.
I didn't look at them once because once you're in it, you know you're good at what you're doing. That's probably why we have our businesses, because that they work for our brain and they scratch that itch that a normal 9 to 5 wouldn't, and we wouldn't cope well with. So
and tell me a bit more about the business side of things, because I find that, like, how have you found it through? Because I know obviously the first year or two we're usually breaking even, and then like how have you found everything like on the growth side of things?
So I started in lockdown, so it was 5 years ago now, and I was still working alongside my other job. So I was an addiction coach for like a company, and I loved that, and I would one day like to go back and work with that demographic. I think like I have a real soft spot for like young people that a lot of them were being exploited and they were obviously using substances. It was quite a tricky job to do, but I felt like I could help them so much more if I was allowed to have more freedom with what I could have coached them on, and we weren't. We were told, if they're using X substance, tell them to use a bit less next week. Oh, gosh. And they weren't addressing the trauma. They weren't addressing why.
Going deep.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to do that within the system.
So it gives you more freedom, I guess, having your own business. And
so eventually I was like, I can't, it doesn't feel ethical for me to be sitting with these people every week pretending that I'm helping them as much as I can when I'm not. So I went self-employed, left that job and took a massive leap. Like,
it's a big leap.
Yeah, I didn't have any proof that it was going to be okay financially. We moved up to Wilmslow from Preston, and our rent went up. Like, everything was more expensive around here than it was where
Did you have a shock in business as well, how much things cost as well when it starts? When you start,
and like there's all these hidden costs, isn't there? Like that you don't think about. And do you know what? I've just always believed that it will work out because I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and it has. There's never been times of where obviously there's quieter months and when things don't sell out. There are always lessons to be learned within. Like I've had events not sell out, and I've had things that I thought would do really well and they haven't.
Sometimes we can put our own worth on that, because I've had events like that where I'm like, most do well, but like there's just off days sometimes, and I'm like, oh, it must not be that people are interested, but actually it's just that it's a funny day.
Yeah,
might be near a half term or something, and we just got to trust that some will do well, some might not. And do you find that your business is very community based, like myself? Like Wild and Wild, like kind of focuses on building community. I guess that's similar for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like my favorite thing is that when I do retreat days or I do retreats, the girls that come, they end up being friends for life. And
I love that.
They come back to different events, and they've all got different group chats, and people will still pop wins in the chat from, like, my last retreat was in Cornwall at the start of summer, and they popped a message in the chat the other day about there's little groups that come from it, friendships about their wins and things that they've...
Staying in touch.
Oh,
I love that because we go to Watergate Bay every year. It's like our home from home. And it's like so interesting. I feel like we're very aligned on certain things because it's just such a beautiful place where you do retreats as well.
Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous.
I
did one last year that was about a 15-minute drive from the beach, but this time we could walk down. It was just
And you had
beautiful.
Grace who was our head chef, at the
Was
cafe.
she?
Yeah. She's
I
fab,
never
isn't
knew
she?
that.
Yeah, so she's amazing.
Oh my gosh, she
I
is
didn't know you had
incredible.
her, but then I saw her on Instagram. I was doing some research last night and I was like, oh, Grace is there. She's
Yes, Grace has done our retreats before, and she's doing my next one next year. And she also cooked me meals postpartum so that I didn't have to cook.
I nearly did that as well. I messaged her, but then my brain just switched off and forgot.
I'm surprised I got through to it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
she's fab.
she's amazing, and the food was incredible.
Well, I was lucky when I had the cafe because I could just like eat what I want, you know, like when I want, it was all healthy and nutritious. Like, it was something I do miss actually.
Yeah, everybody that was at the retreat, nobody else was vegan. And they were eating this food and they were like, God, this is amazing. Like, vegan food's actually good.
Nutritious.
And I said, like, Grace can make anything. She'd be like, oh, do you want some more flatbreads? I'll just go and whip some up. And I'm like, where are they? And she's like, oh, well, I'll just make them. She makes everything from scratch. I'd love to be able to do that.
Oh my gosh, she used to do so much, like the tempeh, how she'd get the flavour in the tempeh ribs and like the loaded toast. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to do a collab with her actually again, because she does do a lot of our retreats still.
Yeah.
But she's fab. She's amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to cook like that.
And oh gosh, I've written so much on here, but I know a little one. Oh no, he's gone back to sleep. So I was wondering how you blend this, because I love how you blend this psychology with spirituality and manifestation. And do you believe then that we can fully like connect to our own potential? Like, everyone has that within them. Because I've seen you talk a lot about transformation, and like I'm just trying to think for our listeners, for someone that's gone through a trauma or gone through deep grief, sometimes we feel so lost in it. Like, can we truly get back to our own potential?
I think absolutely. I think every single thing that you need to get to where you want to be is already within you.
Okay.
But when you're going through, is he going to wake up?
It's all right if he does.
When you're going through that time and you can think like, oh, I'm struggling so much, I'm in the thick of it right now. And like I said before, somebody comes and tells you, oh, just be happy, just be positive. It feels so infuriating. So I think that it's really important, if you are in that place and you're struggling, you can't see your end goal, you can't see your own potential, you don't feel worthy, that's understandable, because everything, I always say that we have layers. So if you imagine your authentic self at the core, and that's like a white light in the center of you, on top of that we have life. So experiences that have happened, limiting beliefs, core beliefs, faulty beliefs that have held us back, and they go on top of it and they add layers and layers and layers, and they dim our light. And that light feels so far away from who we are on a daily basis that the core self version, who is confident and aligned, and that kind of higher self version, feels so distant from who we show up as on a daily basis because of life.
I love
because
that.
of those experiences. Yeah. So it's about peeling them back, and it's about thinking, okay, so I'm really struggling with this area. Why is that? And going deeper and going through that process of understanding where the core belief was formed. Was it that you had a really traumatic breakup? Was it that you lost somebody and you're still in the thick of grief?
Because it lasts for a while as well. Like, I find I still have episodes where it comes back. Like, grief is not something that just happens for a few months or a year after the death.
Yeah.
It comes in waves, and like we're all going through our things. And yeah, like I love that concept of the onion. Like, it looks like an onion. I always talk about, like in yoga, like we all have peace within us at the core. We just need to peel back those layers and get to it and trust.
And I think, that's like you were saying about burnout earlier, that's when all those layers are so heavy and there's so many that we can start to peel back. But I think with grief and with a lot of personal development, that it can become so masculine, and so you have to fit into this box and this time frame and tick these things off and achieve your goals. And actually, I think if we can find more balance between our masculine and feminine energy, and find that today I might be having a bad day, that's okay, rather than pushing through and thinking I need to hustle, I need to push through, I need to.
I hate that hustle mentality. I'm so over that. Like, I even been to networking events or events that are just like, we just gotta, especially as women, it's like this power, like we need to get back our power and hustle and work freaking hard. And I'm like, no. Like, I really like that phrase that's like, work smarter, not harder, because, and I need to tell myself that actually today, because even though I want to do it all, there's time. Like, you're in your 20s, I'm in my early 30s, like, or mid 30s now, but I'm still like, there's so much time. Like, my mum only set up her business, and I think it was in her 40s it started to do really well, and it's like there's so much pressure for us to hustle and do it now, but it's like, just trust that it will happen.
It doesn't have to be that. There's always like a step by step, follow this, do this, and get to the end result. You might have a bad day and people are thinking, well, I need to do this, this, and this, and then I'll feel okay. But that is just, sometimes we need to just allow those emotions to come up, and then you can move through them, because so many people are repressing, and actually they're feeling it more as a result of that.
So with being a mother and like running a business and everything, do you feel like you have any self-care ritual that is a non-negotiable for you? You have to do daily.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely keeping my anxiety levels down and calming my nervous system, which is kind of what we were talking about before. I, especially with ADHD, can get really overwhelmed. So I think that if people can try and find one little ritual that helps them to calm their nervous system, it might be that it works differently for everybody. And I would say to anyone listening as well, any tips that work for anybody else, we can all think, okay, I'll copy that and it'll work for me. But actually, it has to be, you have to trial and error everything with wellness, don't you, to feel into what works for you.
So true.
And for me, it's definitely that I can get really overstimulated and really anxious and overwhelmed in situations like we might be in the supermarket and he's crying, Matilda's kicking off because she wants something. She wants to get out the trolley, she wants to run away from me. And the lights are too bright, I'm so
it's
overstimulated.
The noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it really affects us with ADHD.
And in that moment, I could just scream. And I think it's about just remembering. Sometimes I do just lose it. And like, I very rarely shout. I've probably shouted at Matilda once in her life. And it was when she was trying to hurt Frankie. So there was a line that needed to be drawn. But there are times where I just want to scream because I feel so overwhelmed. So it's in those moments I always try and come back to breath work. And again, that's one of the things I used to think, what a load of rubbish. But just focusing, it's the one thing you can do anywhere. You could be on the motorway stuck in traffic and both the kids are screaming. You could be in a supermarket. You could be in bed at night.
And it's free to us. A lot of people like go and pay loads for these saunas and infrareds and red light therapy. And it's like, actually, breath work is the best thing you could do to reset your mind right now.
Yeah. So I just try and focus on making my exhales longer than my inhales and just breathing in the feeling that I want to feel. So I'll just close down my eyes. Matilda will often do it with me.
Even now, you can just do a big breath.
Yeah.
If everyone just does a big breath together and just lengthens their exhale, it really does help, doesn't it?
And you realise on that exhale that your shoulders are tense and that you're maybe holding tension in your jaw, and you just have a moment to just breathe, literally just breathe.
Literally just breathe. So simple.
So yeah, that. And also I think trying to incorporate my wellness techniques into looking after Matilda as well. Obviously Frankie's too young, but
they feel it. Like I teach baby yoga and baby massage, and people don't realize that they're regulated off your heart rate, off your, like I literally say when you're breathing, you're still, I know in pregnancy you're literally breathing for 2, but even when they're outside of your body now, you are still breathing with them. They're regulating off you, how you, and if you're in short, shallow breathing all the time, they're going to copy that.
Yeah, if you have your baby on your chest and you slow down your breathing and you wait to watch what they do, they physically do it and you can see their breaths getting longer. So that, but also like things like affirmations. I will neglect my well-being techniques if I don't incorporate it into what we're doing with the kids, because the kids, it's chaos, isn't it? You know, when you've got children running around and especially there's not toddlers. A moment to just sit down and think, oh, I'm going to do my affirmations now. So we'll do it together. So
how old's Matilda now?
She's 2.5.
Oh, lovely.
So we'll do it like while we're driving, or we'll talk about what we're grateful for. At the end of every single day, I'll ask her what's her favourite thing that she's done that day. That's lovely. That also prompts me to tell her. So even though it feels like you're doing it for your children, you're actually doing it for yourself as well. And mirror into them what you want them to feel and how you want them to regulate and the skills that you want them to pick up. I think in motherhood, it's so easy to just, like I did the first time, sacrifice everything that makes you feel good, thinking that's the best thing. But actually, I wouldn't want Matilda to have children in the future if she chooses to and think, oh, well, I have to stop everything for myself. I never have to leave my baby because they're not going to survive without me. And
funny, isn't it? Like, why do we put these strong expectations on ourselves? But men don't have that as much. I know some do, but it's this societal issue. It's not our issue. Yeah. We have to remember it's how society's been set up that, you know, there's still a lot of inequality that between when mums go back to work and the pressures and all of this. And it's like, I loved it actually. I think I saw on your Instagram, you put something about how it brought you a new depth of purpose becoming a mum. Is that right? Like, so do you feel like it's giving you more drive in your business? Because that's what happened to me. Like, I feel like the more people are like, how do you still work so much when you've got 4 kids? I'm like, I don't know. Like every time I've been pregnant and had a baby, I felt more creative. Like I've got more purpose. Yeah, like you said.
Because you've got another person to show what you want for them in life. And I think it's different when you've got your own business, because if you're working for somebody else and you don't really enjoy what you do and you're getting paid your normal salary and you're on maternity leave, it's probably going to be quite fun to have a break.
Yeah.
But when you're self-employed and you love what you do, maternity leave kind of feels like a punishment for me, because it's like, go and sit in all your washing, sort your house out, do the dishwasher.
It's more work. It's actually more.
Like, I would so much rather be spending my time working and having somebody like outsource those things that don't light me up.
I think that's the best business tips, to like outsource, get a cleaner, or if you can, like put it even through your business and things, because it's just takes that pressure off you, or a dog walker, or whatever the things you need in the day. That's really changed my game anyway.
Yeah, because I just don't thrive in those situations, and I thrive when I'm at work, when I'm helping people, when I'm talking about these things. So I just think it's noticing the differences, and that maternity will look different for everybody.
Exactly.
Postpartum is looking completely different to what I expected, but I'm just not cut out for that, and I think that in itself is okay.
And you just got to go with the flow, and just like everyone's on their own path, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do, before little one wakes up, a quick fire round at the end. We usually just do, which no pressure, but it's I wanted to see, what do you prefer, hot sauna or a cold plunge?
Cold plunge.
Yeah, cold plunge.
Yeah.
Okay. So many good science behind that as well, isn't there? Is there any mantra that you live by?
I think energy flows where focus goes. So
I like that.
Where you focus, that's what is your kind of what was the phrase that you said your mum used to say?
Yeah, so what we think about, we bring about, kind of
I
thing.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. It
Similar.
is so about, like you said, like attracts like. It's just the flow of it all. We're all energy, aren't we? Is there any book or podcast that have inspired you lately?
Do you know what? I've not been listening to any podcasts
Well,
or
you
doing
just had a
any
baby.
reading. So I saw one of my friends posted loads of wellness podcasts on a story the other day, and I screenshot them all to listen. But I haven't listened to a lot lately. I do like the Grace Beverley's podcast.
I was just thinking about her, yeah.
But wellness-wise, I haven't actually listened to
too many. I mean,
Happy Place is a good one that I always go back to on certain episodes.
I love the stories. They go deeper on the stories, don't they? Yeah.
But
like
no,
that.
I can't provide any great recommendations.
I'm like that. So many people are like, have you read this book? And I'm like, I've got 4 kids at the moment, but I know I need to prioritize time to read, but it's hard. It's tricky. And then just finally, we're coming to the end now. What legacy do you want to leave behind for your children? So, and maybe you can bring into this the vision for Mind Map Mentality. Like, what is your vision and what legacy do you want to leave?
So I started my business and hope that it will grow with this in mind, that I never want anybody to feel the way that I did. When I was in rock bottom mental health, I felt horrendous, and I felt like there was no way out. So nobody could support me. Nobody understood. No matter how much I tried to articulate how I felt, it wasn't getting across. So I want Mind Map to be the business where people can go when they feel like they really want change now. Like, they've decided, like, enough is enough. I know that there's a way out, and I know that these events, these retreats, this coaching can help me. So I just want people to know that no matter where they are, and goes for my children as well, no matter where they are in life, they can massively change when you think things aren't possible as well. Even with business, like, when you start your business out and you think like, oh, that's never going to be possible. And then you look back and like, I'm 5 years in now, and I think like, even this week with like the event at Maybe, and I've done events with other businesses, and I think like me a few years ago would never have believed that was possible, but I've done all the work to get to that place.
Like, be proud of yourself. I think us female founders, or anyone in business or working, needs to sometimes just reflect on how far we've come.
Yeah.
We don't do that enough, do we?
Absolutely.
It's so important. And it's incredible just to hear your story and like how far you've come in this 5 years since you set up, and all the people that you're helping, and especially with having 2 young children as well. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to add before we leave today?
No, I think that's it. I've just really enjoyed talking through all these things. There's been so many different topics that we've covered. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. It's been amazing. Thank you, little Frankie, for joining us today.
Thank you, Frankie, for being quiet.